Now we are going to talk about unit conversion. Well, there's not much theory behind unit conversion. It's just that a physical unit, let's say time, can have different units. Okay, you can have hours, you can have seconds, you can have minutes, years, decades, century. So there's many different kind of units which we can use to measure a certain physical quantity. Okay, in that case, it's a very useful thing for us to know how to convert from one unit to another unit. Okay, let's just get straight into it because it's something you have been quite familiar about. Okay, let's say I have 80 liters of liquid and I would like to convert it into cm cube. Okay, so this is my way of doing it. I think it's quite systematic, and if you don't want to get confused, probably follow this way is good. Okay, so first write the what you want on one side and what you have on one side, what you want on another side. Okay, then set up the equation. How do you set up the equation? Something like this. You provide some space here because you want to write the answer, right? And of course, there's need to be some kind of process from here to here. So of course, there's an equal here, there's an equal here, then your process will be in between, then there you get your result. Okay, so this is the part where we set up. There's still one more thing to write to set up. Okay, that's writing down 80 liters here. Because you are going to do something to these 80 liters, only it can get converted to become cm cube. Okay, so this is the first step. Set up the equation. Set up the problem. So how do you do it? By having a 2 equals, leaving some space here, and writing what you are given over here. Okay, first step. Then the second step will be to see what you need to convert. Okay, in that case, it's quite obvious that here you need to convert liter to cm cube. So there's only one thing to convert. If there's only one thing to convert, what you need to do is you need to include one empty fraction. Okay, that's the second step. See how many things you need to convert, put in that many empty fractions. So right now there's only one thing to convert, so I put one empty fraction over here. Okay, so now the next step will be to put in the units. How do you put in the units? See, over here, from 80 liter to cm cube, we want to eliminate the units liter, but we want to introduce cm cube. So we have to try to kill off this liter. How do we kill off this liter? By having something below over here so that later they can cross each other out. Because one is up on the fraction, one is down on the fraction. These two liter unit can cancel each other out. That's how we decide where should I put the liter. Okay, the next thing is what I want to introduce. I want to introduce cm cube. And cm cube, as you see here, there's no negative sign here. There's no negative sign here. It's a positive 3. So it's not below, it's above. So you want to introduce something above, we have to put it above. Okay, until now there's nothing complex. You just see what you need to cancel out, what you want to introduce. If you want to cancel out, you make sure you write the unit on the opposite side of the fraction so that you can cancel each other out. If you want to introduce something, write on the same side of the fraction. If up, then up. If down, then down. Introduce it, put it on the same side. Eliminate, put it on the opposite side of the fraction. So now, after setting this out, we go on to the next step. The third step. The third step will be to put in the numbers. So how do you put in the numbers? You need to know the equivalence. Okay, so in this case, let's say today I know 1 liter is equals to 1000 cm cube. If I happen to know this, then everything is simple. What I need to do is just see this is liter, see this is liter, write this over here. Okay, then see this is cm cube, this is cm cube, write this over here. Okay, nothing much, nothing complicated over here. So after you put in everything, the last step will be just to calculate. So you just take 80 times 1000 divided by 1000. Once you calculate everything, you know that the answer is 80,000 cm cube. Okay, so this is a very basic systematic way of converting units. Okay, but of course you need to know this in the first place, right? Let's say you don't know, so how should you handle the situation? Okay, so let's say today you don't know 1 liter is equals to 1000 cm cube, but you happen to know that 1 liter is equals to 1000 milliliter, sorry. Okay, 1 liter is equals to 1000 ml, but what you need is still cm cube. So you still need to know how to get from milliliter to cm cube. And let's say you happen to know that 1 ml is equals to 1 cm cube. Well, this is something very common. 1 ml is equals to 1 cm cube. It's very common in chemistry. So I hope you can sort of know this. Okay, so if you happen to know these two, so how can you change? Okay, now we don't know this conversion right now. So how should we change this is we can change cm cube to milliliter. Okay, if we change cm cube to milliliter, now all these numbers that we put here, it's now incorrect already, right? All these numbers are incorrect already. So we need to remove all the numbers and do the calculation following the step just now. Okay, so I've set this up, but ml is not what I want to introduce. What I want to introduce is cm cube. So what does that mean? I need to eliminate ml, introduce cm cube. So I think it's better for me to write down. I want to eliminate ml. I want to introduce cm cube. Okay, and we know that the conversion factor is this one. So what do? Introduce another empty fraction and put in what we want. Okay, we want to eliminate ml, so we want to put ml on the opposite side of the fraction. We want to introduce cm cube, so we put it as the same side as the answer. Okay, so cm cube both on top of the fraction, but if we want to eliminate ml, we need to put it on the opposite side of the fraction. Okay, so now everything is clear. We have set up. This is our second step. The second step we mentioned just now. Second step, put in all the units. Now we follow through the third step. Third step is using these things that we know here, fill in the numbers. So fill in the numbers. 1 liter is over here. 1000 ml is over here. 1 ml is over here. 1 cm cube is over here. So once you have filled in everything, again, you can do your calculation. Take 80 liter. Just take a number, okay? Just take a number times this one, divide by this one, divide by this one. Don't care about the units inside already. Then your answer will be 80,000. Okay, if you want to be really sure whether the units are correct or not, what you can do is you can take, you can try to cross out the unit. You can try to cross out the unit. And you see that the only unit left is cm cube. So in that case, what you do here is correct. Okay, so now let's get back to the original situation that we discussed just now. This situation where we just take one fraction to be able to reach our final conversion. Okay, so now imagine you can't remember this 1 liter equals to 1000 cm cube, but you happen to know that 1000 liter equals to 1 meter cube. Well, everybody remember different things. Okay, let's say you happen to remember that 1 liter is equals to 1 meter cube, and you also know that 1 meter is equals to 100 cm. Well, you can't remember 1 meter cube equals to how much, but you remember 1 meter is equals to 100 cm. Well, you can still do something with this. Okay, so let's try to modify what we have done earlier, much earlier. Okay, so instead of saying that we convert straight to cm cube, what we do is we can convert it to meter cube first. So if we are changing what we are converting, of course the value just now is no longer valid. We redo the process again. Okay, but m cube, it's not our final unit that we want. We still want to go from m cubed to cm cube. That's not the end. So if that's not the end, what do we need to do? We need to introduce another empty fraction. And this empty fraction should be able to eliminate m cube. And it should be able to introduce cm cube. Okay, so if you want to eliminate, it should go to the opposite side of the fraction. So this is meter cube. Cm cube is what we want to introduce. So introduce should be on the same side. Same side means by on this side. Also above on the numerator, I mean above the fraction. So this is cm cube. Okay, so this is step 2. We put in all the units. We haven't put in the numbers. Just put in the units. That's step 2. So step 3, you need to put in the numbers. Okay, so from liter to meter cube, well, it's quite obvious. Liter. So this one is just putting in 1000. This one is 1 meter cube. Just put in 1. But for this second fraction over here, you can see that this is meter cube. Whereas what I remember is only meter. There's no cube up there. Okay, in that case, what you need to do is you have to figure out from meter cube to cm cube what is the conversion. To do that, let's do a bit of recall. Again, meter cube is just meter times meter times meter, right? Okay, that's why cube, right? Cm cube is just cm times cm times cm. So what you can do is actually break this into 3 empty fraction. Actually, you can break it into 3 empty fraction. Then now you know from this one, you can know that it's 1 meter 100 cm, 1 meter 100 cm, 1 meter 100 cm. Well, you want to do it this way, also no problem. Actually, if you often make mistakes forgetting to cube it, because many people just put in 100 here, then they think it's done, it's correct. But no, you have to be really careful with the power over here. So if you are that kind of person who always make careless mistakes about this thing, well, writing it this way over here can be a good idea as well. Okay, I'm just going to follow through. Now we know that what we need to put up here is taking 100 times 100 times 100, and that is equals to 10 to the power of 6. Now with all that said, we can take 80 times 1 times 10 to the power of 6, divide by 1000, divide by 1. And if you use your calculator and calculate, I believe you get the same answer, 80,000 cm cube. Okay, so the idea is still the same. How many things you need to convert? Create how many empty fraction. If that empty fraction still cannot convert to the final unit that you want, create more empty fraction. Okay, fill in the units first, then fill in the values. Okay, so give it a try on a few other questions, then I believe you will get a better idea of this thing.